All right, all right, all right. Are we live? Yo, yo, yo. Tell me what you know. Welcome to the Sunshine Show. Woo! Today, I have the most amazing guest for you this afternoon, this morning, this evening, wherever in the world you may roam. Because that's right, ladies and gentlemen, the Sunshine Show is worldwide. I'm so excited to be here. This episode has been brought to you by Sunshine and the Bass Kids. And thank you to Bass Players United for hosting this live chat today with the one and only, the most amazing, the most phenomenal, the most fabulous, the most Bowie of them all. I have Cici von Strangelove in the house. How's it going, Cici?
Hello, it's going well, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I feel like I should sing you a song, but I won't do it. I will spare everybody at home, all the listeners' ears. I won't sing you happy birthday, but I just want you to know that we are all so excited to celebrate the 25th year of your life together.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much.
Wow. Cool, Cece. So it's been about a year since we caught up. For all the people at home who may not know who you are, can you give us a brief introduction?
Yes, so where to start? So my tagline, if you've seen any of my profile pages, is testing the limits of bass. And I feel like if you watch any of my solo bass videos, you can kind of see where I'm coming from. So I do all sorts, really. I've got a YouTube channel which I demo gear on, do solo bass jams, and they can range from literally anything from psychedelic to metal to kind of screaming bass solos, or really melodic and calm or meditative. So, bit of everything going on. I just like making music. And then aside from that, I do kind of vlog stuff on the channel. Play bass in a band called Red Giant, and I also am the front woman and bass player of my up and coming prog metal band Von Strangelove.
Oh, this is
A lot.
exciting. Very cool, very cool. So let's talk about the merge, the new brand name, the new branding. How did that come about?
Yes, so a few reasons behind it, really. Number one reason is because all of my pages had different names. Like some were Cici Bass, Cici Powell, Karina Powell, Worcesterian. It was all over the place, and it got a bit annoying to try and send everyone in different directions. So I thought, right, bring it together all under one name. And the reason I didn't go with Cici Powell, obviously my real name's Karina Powell, but everyone knows me as Cici, so it made sense to keep that. But I didn't keep the Powell because in a few languages, Cici means something hilarious, which I will not say on the stream. And I think it's really funny, but I know that in those countries, they might not think it's so funny. So I thought if I make the rest of my name a bit more humorous, it kind of makes a bit more of a light-hearted thing about it, because the whole name is kind of a bit tongue-in-cheek then, and it doesn't really matter to me. So yeah, I thought in a way that solves it. Second reason I went for Strangelove is because one of my favorite films of all time is the film Doctor Strangelove.
Okay.
And in my music, I like to write kind of stories and little different points of view and just weird and wonderful stuff into them. And I feel like Von Strangelove really captured the essence of a lot of the things that I end up writing about. So yeah, a few reasons really, but yeah.
Okay, very cool. So Strangelove. I actually love that. So what you're saying is that each one of your musical masterpieces are like reading a novel.
Yeah, pretty much. Obviously in the instrumentals, I'm kind of telling a story just through the music. I'd say the best example of that is the song I did called All Quiet, which is kind of based on the film All Quiet on the Western Front. And I'm kind
Okay.
of trying to tell the story of that. But then in this Von Strangelove project, with the lyrics that I've written, I've actually written stories and characters and things like that who I just want to tell their stories because they've been in my head for a really long time, and I feel like I want to share them with the world and kind of make a bit of a give them their own world within the band. So yeah.
Oh, very, very nice. Let's look at this chat really quick. We have a lot of people here in the house. Thank you again, Bass Players United and Sunshine and the Bass Kids. We got Gabriel Walker. We got Steve Combs. We got Davy Baby in the house. We got my mama, the one and only Sandra Cantu. Hi, mama. I love you so much. We got Gabriel Walker. Let's see, Gabriel Walker with the first question of the night. Since you're into Prague, what do you think about Dream Theater and Jong Mung bass playing?
I love his bass playing and I love the band as musicians, but I've, to be honest, not actually listened to loads of their music. So I'm aware of how insanely talented they all are, and I really can appreciate that. But I couldn't say that I'm like a huge mega fan or super knowledgeable about them overall. So
Okay. What is your favorite genre of music?
that's tough.
How about the top
Whatever
three? How
I'm
about top three?
okay. Yeah. Number one, definitely metal. Two, I mean, I do love my funk. Um, yeah, I'll go with prog as number three as a kind of separate thing to metal. It does have its own vibe going on. So
Yeah, okay, very cool. So is there a lot of synth going on in your musical pieces?
so in the band, there's actually not any kind of synths or anything. It's all very, at this point in time, very traditional in terms of lineup. Like there's just drums, bass, guitar, vocals, and that's it. But in my solo stuff, because I use so many pedals, um, it can end up with some quite synthy sounds. So, for example, I've got a pedal called the Mel 9, and that is obviously based off a mellotron. So you've got all the kind of flute sounds, violin, choir, etc. And I like to build off things like that as well. So yeah, it can get a bit synthy, but it's all done with the bass.
Very cool. So do you play bass synth at all or just keep it on the
No,
electric bass?
just yeah, just electric at the moment. One day I'd like to play that, but
Okay, very, very cool. Let's see. We got Lane Patterson in the house. What's up, Lane? We got Tequila. Shout out. What's up, Tequila? How you doing? Davy Brown says DT is the shit. So glad Mike Portnoy, I don't know how to say that, is back on drums. All right. We got Mike Torn from Canada. What's up, Mike? Also a part of the Bass Players United team. All right, next question. Gabriel Walker. Who are your inspirations for bass and who got you into synth bass pedals?
okay. So the reason I started playing bass, I saw a video of Paul Gray from Slipknot on YouTube when I was about 11. Just randomly stumbled across it. I had never heard of bass guitar before, and I thought it was called bass. I knew nothing about the instrument, but for some reason, and I honestly couldn't tell you why, I just saw him playing, and I was like, "That's what I want to do." And so I went downstairs to my mum one day and just said, "Mum, I want to learn to play bass." And she goes, "I think you mean bass, but don't you want to learn real guitar?" I said, "No, want to learn bass. Gotta be bass." And I never looked back, and I've actually converted my entire family to being massive fans of bass guitar now, so that's a bonus. But yeah, no one else in my family is a musician, or certainly wasn't at that time. My lovely younger cousin has just started his musical journey, which is really cool to see. But yeah, so it wasn't like anyone in my family really pushed me to do it. I just sort of stumbled across it, and I've always loved music. Like I can't remember if I might have said this in the last show, but apparently as a baby I would tap my foot to the rhythm and things like that. So
Oh, it was meant to be, Cici.
yeah. And I've always been able to see music as well because I've got synesthesia. So I guess it is kind of always been something that's always been there for me, but no one really pushed me to actually play. I kind of just stumbled across it, and I don't know why bass. It just stuck out to me, and so I went with it, and I've never looked back.
It was your calling. The universe obviously brought bass to your life and to your entire family, except for Dave. Dave says he's not converted yet.
All I have
Hello,
to say to
Dave.
Dave is that means something different in England, by the way, too.
I'm like, oh, what's going on over there? Oh man, too funny. We got a Kilo Gonzalez all the way from Mexico in the chat. He says, "Hola, sunshine,
Hello.
big fan of Cici. We love Kilo on the show, and we will have him back on very soon. Unfortunately, I keep having to reschedule everybody. And thank you, Cici, for I think this was like the 4th reschedule, but we finally got you on the show.
Yeah.
Thank you for being so flexible. I really
No,
appreciate
thank
it.
you. Yeah,
Okay.
thanks for bearing with me.
Absolutely. Let's see. Next question. Steve Bertson, one of the Sunshine and the Bass kids in the house. He says, what was the first song you learned to play?
Oh, very first song ever, I think, was Highway to Hell by AC/DC. But I had a kind of weird journey on bass where I learnt that song and then kind of went home and went, yeah, do you know what? I'm going to learn Run to the Hills by Iron Maiden, and I'm going to look on YouTube and teach myself the 3-finger gallop thing, which I now know Steve Harris only uses 2 fingers, but still, good technique to know. So I went home and I think I'd been playing 3 weeks, taught myself Run to the Hills by Iron Maiden, and then obviously being a massive fan of Slipknot, I went on to the next thing and went, I'm going to learn Duality, not realizing Paul Gray used a pick. So I think it was probably like the 3rd or 4th song I learned was Duality by Slipknot, but I learned it finger style, which
That is
I know.
insane, dude. I was literally, I wanted to put in my 2 cents. I was like, yeah, my first song was Woodchopper's Ball. You know, it's like a jazz standard or whatever. You're over here,
Awesome.
Slipknot. Okay.
Well,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, it's a weird one, but there's actually footage of me playing it around that time, both of those songs. Because another one early on that I learnt was Mellowship Slinky. And but learning all of those really stood me in good stead, especially learning Duality fingerstyle, not realizing you use the pick. I think that is what really pushed my right hand technique and why I'm kind of more comfortable that way than I am with a pick now anyway. But yeah, I think anyone is capable of doing that. I think it was just that in my head I was like, yeah, okay, I'm just going to learn that. And I couldn't see any reason why not to learn it. So I think a lot of it comes down to your state of mind when you're trying to do anything really. It's a lot of it comes from here before it comes from your physical body. So
Absolutely. And I think you're right. That applies to so many areas in our life. We have to be right mentally and be able to, like, you know, just believe that we can do something and then really push ourselves to do it. And then here we are interviewing Cici on Bass Players United while she tells us that the 3rd song she ever learned in her life was by Slipknot. Okay, everybody. That's very, very, very cool, man. What about Tool? What about Tool? Are you a big fan of Tool?
Yeah, Tool are one of my favourite bands of all time. I'm actually going to see them this Thursday, which I'm really excited about. Yeah, I forgot I didn't actually answer my influences, speaking of Tool, because Justin Chancellor is probably my number one of, if not the biggest influence on bass. Cliff Burton is another one. Weird story about Cliff is that I'm really late to the party with him. Because I, for years, kept getting people say, oh, you must be a massive fan of Cliff Burton because you play just like him and you move really similar and you must love him. I was like, who is this Cliff man? And then when I was 20, so back in 2019 or 2020, I finally looked into him, and then my mind was blown. And he blows me away every time I see him play. I just wish that we got to see where he was going to take the bass because it was really going in an interesting direction. So I almost feel in a way, well, one, if I can be half the player that he was, that would be amazing. But
Well,
two,
don't sell yourself short there, Cici.
Thank you. But two, I feel like I also want to see where I can push the bass because I think it's such a capable instrument, and it's a shame that he never got to. So if I can kind of carry that torch to the best of my ability, then that's something I really, really want to do. So yeah, another major influence. Flea is another huge one. Obviously, he was one of my first kind of bass heroes, and then Paul Gray, number one. So yeah.
Very cool. With Steve Combs is asking, what about Rush?
Yeah, I like Rush, but again, don't know loads and loads of their stuff. I have tackled, well, years ago, tackled YYZ because it's kind of the standard thing of like, well, can you play that? Then you're a real bass player. um, but yeah, so that was definitely a challenge. I haven't played it in years, so I really should look at it again. But yeah, not super knowledgeable about them, but I do love a lot of their songs, and I also love them as people as well because I've seen a lot of interviews and seen that talk show Alex Lifeson's done, which I really enjoyed. So yeah.
Very, very nice. Cici, it is such a joy having you back on the show. Thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here tonight. I know you could be anywhere in the world right now. You could be sleeping probably. I think it's almost midnight your time.
Well, I am actually in my bed. Not that you want to say that. No, but thanks for having me. I'm really pleased to be back again.
Absolutely. Let's look at this chat. We got Davy Baby. Davy says, I still call it bass. Lovely. I love it. We got Patrick Kinney in the house. Hey, hey, both epic women right here. Patrick is a fellow Santa Cruzian bass player as well. We got Dodie
Awesome.
Banks in the house. Dodie Banks from Corpus Christi, Texas. What's up, Dodie? It's been a minute. Thanks for hanging out with us. We got Rachel Michelle Doyle in the house. Hello, Rachel. We got Leaf Arrow. We have the whole fam. If you guys have any questions, comments, suggestions for myself, for the one and only Cici Von Strangelove, drop them there in the comment section, and I'll get to them as soon as possible. All right, let's see. Do you play guitar fingerstyle or pick? I think you already answered this for us.
Yeah, so obviously bass I play mainly fingerstyle, but I'm getting more into pick playing, and then actual guitar I play with a pick, which feels really weird, but I'm trying to. I prefer the sound of guitar with a pick, and it kind of works a bit better with what I'm trying to play, which is mainly tool stuff at the moment with my weird not knowing much about much guitar stuff. That's kind of my main inspiration and main source of practice, and it's really difficult to do without a pick, so it's kind of a necessity. So, yeah.
Okay, so on this new album that you're dropping, are you also playing guitar?
Not on the two band ones. So, Red Giant are about to release our album in October, and I played bass on that, but there's a couple of surprises which I don't think people will necessarily expect. Some solos that should be guitar solos but aren't. So just keep that in mind. They're actually me. And then on the Von Strangelove album, I'm just doing vocal and bass duties because I'm not that used to multitasking that much at the moment. So that's a new kind of learning curve for me, and I'm really enjoying actually feeling like I'm adding a new skill set. So
Yeah, absolutely. This is really cool. Okay, we got Arthur Gonzalez in the chat. He says, "Hello, Sunshine. Thanks for featuring our amazing CC pal from the UK to your show. We need to get her to NAM and more opportunities to astound the rest of the world. So proud of my lovely, talented friend." So, well,
thank
CC,
you.
when are you coming to the US, girl? Have you visited already? What's the stats on that?
I've never ever been to the US. I really want to. I don't know when that will happen, but hopefully one day. I feel like it is going to happen at some point. So,
Oh, it is.
yeah.
Like, this is the right you've come to the right place, okay? Because I just met Dr. Funk and Sarah Walker, 2 weeks ago in LA, and
No
it was so
way.
funny because they actually met each other in California, but they're from the UK too, so it's just so funny, the opportunities that do, come about when you just start putting yourself out there, and, we got to
Yeah.
get you down here to NAMM, that'd be really cool. Who endorses you right now?
Yeah, so I'm endorsed by Warwick Bases, Ashdown. So Warwick Bases is a fairly new one that happened last year. Ashdown, I've been endorsed by since I was about 16, 17-ish.
Wow.
And they're amazing, such lovely people. And I'm also endorsed by Rockboard, which is also by Warwick. That's their kind of new foray into other territories like pedal boards, guitar cases, and things like that. So
Okay.
yeah, lots of nice ones.
Wow,
Very,
that's
very
awesome.
lucky.
Okay, so we have no problem then getting you over here to NAM. We'll go ahead and get your all the people that endorse you are going to go ahead and pay for your plane ticket. Okay, I'm putting it into the universe right now. We're going to get it going. All right, very cool. That's awesome. So, do you currently have a string sponsor as well?
No, I would love to get one day, but hasn't happened yet. But if it's meant to happen, it will. And if
What
not,
strings? What strings do you currently use?
I use the Darios. Um, they're my favourites because they seem to last the longest in my
Okay.
personal experience, and I like the way they feel under my fingers. So, and they also do the custom gauge that I use because I use a bit of a weird gauge because I end up having to down tune the low E quite a bit, but
Okay.
I still need to be able to bend the high G because of obviously all the weird solo-y stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, I use hundreds to 40s. So it's a bit of a weird one, and they are one of the companies that do it, which is really cool.
Very awesome. All right, Diodario, you heard that. You will now be Cece's new string sponsor. Okay, next question. Gabriel Walker wants to know, are you a fan of Uncle Billy Sheehan?
Yeah, I love Billy. I was actually lucky enough to meet him in 2017 at the London Bass Show, and he was such a lovely guy, and got to chat with him briefly, and he signed a poster for me. So, and I saw his masterclass there, which just blew my mind again. So yeah, big fan of Billy Sheehan.
I love him so much. He's really just such a sweet, down to earth, and humble person. And this is going to segue into my next segment called "How to Be a Humble Bassist." No, I'm joking. How do you stay so humble, so kind, so true to the instrument? How do you not get a big head when you're trying to do what you're doing? When a lot of this social media stuff comes with a lot of like egos and things like that, right? So
Mm.
how do you stay so level headed throughout all of this?
Yeah, so it's a weird one. Like for me, I think some of it comes naturally as a depending on your temperament. So like I'm quite an introverted and very anxious person, and I've always been quite shy when I'm not on stage. So for me, it's kind of I'm very self-critical, which I don't recommend. Um, so for me, it's kind of I almost keep myself from being too big-headed in that sense, but there is more to it, which again, I think anyone can fall into the trap of being egotistical or anything like that. It's very easily done and kind of understandable, but one massive thing that I always try to keep in my head is that music itself is a much bigger thing than anyone who's actually playing it. Like it's kind of more than the sum of its parts, if that makes any sense. So
Sure.
that's one thing, and because when I play, I kind of like particularly in the improvised jams, I'm not kind of going, I'm going to play this here because that's going to be amazing, and then I'll do this because I think that will sound best. I'm just kind of going with it and trusting what's kind of being beamed to me in the moment. And to me, I feel like whatever that is knows far better than I do. And I don't know, I just think music in itself is such a huge part of being human and the human experience that it's kind of hard to just go, right, yeah, that's all me. I'm so important because I do all of this and it's definitely all me. um, but yeah, I mean, it's a weird one because there's a fine line between being egotistical and being extremely self-critical, and it's really important to find that balance, and it's one that I'm kind of particularly one way with the self-critical thing more so, but I'm always still trying to find that balance of going, yeah, I'm good at what I do, but I'm not egotistical about it. And kind of stay humble, because everyone is just human, everyone is on the same level, and no one has a right, in my opinion, to be in any kind of hierarchy. And I've always kind of felt that through life anyway. So the idea of hierarchy kind of bounces straight off me, whether that's being homeschooled or what. I don't know. It's just, yeah, it's just a kind of mix of various points of view, I guess. But
Yep.
yeah.
Absolutely. I feel like it is very important, and I feel like once people start losing that about them and they get too big-headed, then it just really just kind of puts a like I don't even exactly know what I'm saying, but I just think it's so amazing that you've kept so level-headed. And a lot of the bass players, most of the bass players that I do interview on the show are very level-headed and are very humble. But
Mm.
you do have those ones that are very egotistical, but that you brought it up, maybe they're just very self-critical. We don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, you never know. But I think no one is above anyone and no one's better than anyone just inherently. So that's just something that's always in my head. And hopefully I never lose that. I like to think that no matter what happens, I wouldn't lose that. So, but you
Sure.
never know.
All right, next question, Davy Brown. If you could choose to get in a bar fight with Victor Wooten or Les Claypool, which one would you pick and why? This is a great question, Davy. Thank you.
That is a great question. I mean, I don't feel like at 4'11" and extremely petite, I would win against either of them. So, I mean, both of them would be pretty cool to say you've been in a bar fight with them. So, happily, either of them, because they definitely win anyway.
I love that so much. Thank you guys all for hanging out with me and Cici. I appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, drop them there in the comments section. All right, next question comes from Steve Combs. Sunshine likes her Rickenbacker. What do you think of Ricky's?
Yeah, I love them. Wanted one for years actually, but haven't quite managed to get my hands on one yet. But did fall in love with one. I unfortunately cannot remember what it was called, but it was some limited edition matte black thing with a black and white checkered binding, and it was just amazing. And so, yeah, one of those one day, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk. Let's talk a little bit about what you're playing on currently. I think we touched on it, but what are you playing in the studio? What are you playing at your shows? Can you give us a little bit of a rundown?
Yep. So number one bass that I'm playing is on pretty much everything at the moment is the Warwick Corvette. Um, Secondary to that is the Schecter Exotic P4, which is that really cool orange one with the stripy zebra wood. um, and then this is a bass that's really special to me. It's the Soundgear SR700, and obviously they're all special, but this one is particularly so because I got this in probably 2015, and I've done hundreds of gigs on it, recorded so much with it, and just got so much history. And it's just such a comfy bass for me to play, and so that holds a lot of memories as well. But yeah, they're kind of the three main ones. Though I did on the Red Giant album end up playing the Paul Gray signature bass, which I'm very lucky to own. And I found out that the day I played it on the recording was actually on Paul Gray's birthday, which I didn't even realize on the day. So
Oh,
that's kind of
wow.
insane. But yeah.
That's awesome. Very cool. All right, next question, Lane Patterson. If you could assemble the dream band with you on bass, of course, what would that look like? Ooh, great question. Great questions, you guys.
That is really good and really difficult.
You got this, girl.
um, okay. Um, I mean, part of me just wants to say basically every member of Tool, but that would be cheating. So, but definitely Maynard on vocals because his voice is just incredible. Um, Guitar wise, John Frusciante on guitar because again he's a huge inspiration to me. Um, Drums, probably Ian Pace from Deep Purple. Love his drumming. no idea what this band would sound like.
It's going to be
Yeah,
amazing,
that would
actually.
probably
I'm
be
really
it.
looking forward to it.
Can't wait for it to happen.
Wait, so did we finish the whole band already?
I think so. That's vocals, me on bass, drums and guitar. Yeah.
Okay, when we're not doing horns, no keyboards, none of that fancy stuff,
What?
okay? Or maybe we are.
Well,
I don't.
I mean, maybe keyboards. I've completely blanked on his name on the spot right now, but from Pink Floyd, I know I'll
Oh.
kick myself when I think of his
Who
name.
in the chat can tell us the keyboard player for Pink Floyd? First person in the chat wins something. What? A sticker or something fun. All right. Let's see, you guys. Thank you all for hanging out with us. Dawn put Cece's link tree in the comment section. If you guys could go and make sure to follow Cece on all the platforms, make sure to do that. It'll be quite the treat, and you're welcome. We got Rocky Rucker in the house. What's up, Rocky? All the way from Florida.
Hello.
We got Gilbert Barentes from San Antonio, Texas. Where do I go to check out this young lady jam? Well, first of all, you got to get on a plane and go to the UK. Now, where in the UK can we find you?
In the UK, you can find me in a small but very well-known place called Worcester, which
Okay.
I think there's a Worcester in the US as well, but it's not that one. It is the one in the UK, the one with the sauce.
Worcestershire.
Yeah, close enough.
I said that when I was hanging out with Sarah and Johnny, and they just both looked at each other because I think they're from the same town. Are they?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So many like
Mental.
fabulous bass players. Like I think Becky Baldwin is from there too, right?
I think she's in Birmingham, but I think she's originally Bristol, but we have gigged together a few times, but mainly around Birmingham. So it's all very close. Birmingham's about 40 minutes away from me. So yeah, same kind of deal.
Wow, that's crazy. And you guys are just phenomenal. Is there some sort of like bass god that lives over in the UK that like just comes down and like blessed some of the children, you know? Like you now will be a phenomenal bass player. Phenomenal bass player. That's really cool,
Love that.
man.
It's the sauce. That's what it is. It's the Worcester sauce.
The Worcestershire sauce. So well, but also my dear friend Gilbert, if you can't make it all the way to Worcester, then you can actually find Cici on YouTube. She's a YouTube sensation. She's a viral sensation. Okay. And phenomenal. Okay, so what my friend Patrick, we were talking about you yesterday. He's here in Santa Cruz, and I was like, "Well, I'm interviewing Cici tomorrow," and he was like, "Oh, she's not just a bass player; like she is a multi instrumentalist. Like she is amazing." And I was like, "Okay, well, Patrick, tell me some more about Cici." So yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, so YouTube is a great way to find you. Facebook, all the platforms.
Yeah.
Do you have music on Spotify?
No, although I am planning when some of it's actually kind of out there in the wild, I will put it on Spotify. Even though it's annoying that I'd love to just have it on Bandcamp and be like, yeah, I get some of the royalties, but Spotify is such a unfortunately important thing in this day and age, and I am guilty of also using it, so I'm not really one to talk. But yeah, it's kind of it'll be on both. So if you want to buy the album, then that will be possible. But if you just want to stream it, then you're also more than welcome to do that too.
So is your music currently on Bandcamp? Is that where we would go to buy it? And
Yeah, so a lot of my bass jams that I've done on YouTube are on my Bandcamp. But one thing I want to note is that on these jams, they are taken from the videos. So they've been recorded just all on the spot, all improvised with a DI. So they're not like properly mixed and mastered or anything like that. And for every song that's on my Bandcamp, there's a video of me actually playing it live and coming up with it on my YouTube channel as well. But I thought it's just cool to put them on there because sometimes people like to download them and stream them, so which is really nice. But yeah, there will be kind of properly recorded music coming in the future, just when I can get a place to record set up at home finally.
Well, you have tons and tons, thousands and thousands of people waiting for this. So it's okay. We'll wait a little bit longer, Cici. Whenever you're
Thank you.
ready, we'll be here for you for sure. All
Thank
right,
you.
Base. We have Base Gabe. You found us all the way from YouTube. So we are live on YouTube, Twitch, Sunshine Cantu, and the Bass Players United platform. You guys, thank you all. Everybody who's watching on all the platforms, thank you so much. I see Base Gabe has converted to Facebook. That's fine. Thank you. Whichever platform you want to use is great for me. Let's see, Rocky Rucker, are you exciting? Are you excited for people to hear Red Giant?
Yeah, definitely. There was something about that recording session, it just felt really special, and I feel like that's really come across in the actual recordings. It's captured that energy, and I'm really, really proud of the bass lines that I've written, and also not just the bass solo that I've done on one of the songs, which was written, but on one of the tracks, I improvised a bass solo. No idea where it came from, but it's probably the thing I've done that I'm most proud of ever so far in my career. I don't know. I don't know where it came from. It was just really special, and I'm just really excited to share that. And I'm also very proud of the vocals I've done on it. I feel like they're the strongest ones I've done yet. Obviously, just kind of backing or joint lead vocals on this album, but yeah.
So with your vocals, are you doing more like a screamo kind of thing, or is it more like a harmonic? Like what are the vocals feeling like? What's the vibe?
Yeah, so on the Red Giant album, they're more just vocal harmonies or joint lead parts. And then for Von Strangelove, I'm actually working on some new vocal techniques and I'm hoping to bring them into that project. So they're hopefully going to be a bit more gritty. And at some point, I would like to learn to do kind of more screamy stuff as well. But it's for the most part, it's going to be singy type vocals.
Okay, so you'd be going la 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 la. No, I'm joking.
Exactly like that, yeah.
Yes, all right. Next question, Bass Gabe. What's your craziest tour story, Cici?
To be honest, I've not done that many tours. But I
Or how
don't
about
know.
a
I
crazy
mean,
show? Even like a show, crazy show story, any kind of, or a studio story?
yeah, so one of the craziest show stories is that, well, there's quite a few, but one of them is a battle of the bands I did as a teenager.
Okay.
And the band that didn't win took it so seriously that we had to go and hide in the car because all their fans were threatening to punch us and literally every other band and all the fans of all the other bands. So they were just trying to gang up on literally everyone in the place, and we just tried to stay out of the way and just be like, okay, I'll just keep out of this. And so, yeah, that was slightly terrifying.
Wait, was that high school? Did you say that was high school?
No, just the battle of the bands I did as a
Oh,
teenager, but
oh, as a teenager. So
not
was it like
yeah.
middle school, high school, or like past high school? I'm just trying to figure out what height Cece would have been at this point. Was she like 4 foot tall? Like, what's going on here?
Probably the same height as now. But yeah, so weird thing, but I joined my first band when I was 12. Um so but that was kind of like a nothing too special. And then I joined a prog metal band when I was 14, which I was in until I was 18. And that was when we did those Battle of the Bands thing. But not really anything to do with school, weirdly, because I came out of school when I was 8, which I'm very, very lucky to have been able to do. But yeah, just wasn't really getting on very well at school. For all sorts of reasons, really. And yeah, so it was just better to take me out. And my sister had been taken out as well previously because she's
Oh, so you're
um
homeschooled.
yeah.
Oh, I love that.
But
I
like in
homeschooled
a
my son.
oh, amazing. Yeah, I was homeschooled in a really informal way where it was like, okay, what do you want to learn about today? I want to learn about space. Okay, we'll learn about space. And I feel like because I love learning things, it worked really well for me. I don't work very well in a kind of classroom environment or in a
Sure.
really strict, rigid environment. So yeah, it suited me way more, and I was way more happy and not depressed.
Yeah, it's
So yeah,
important. Next question, are you a Gemini?
I am indeed. Yeah, probably.
Stop it. Are you really?
Yeah, yeah.
I am
I
too. I'm
confuse
telling you.
people. No way.
When is your birthday? Oh, it just passed.
It was
Hello, it was
yesterday.
yesterday.
Yeah,
Hello. Hello.
yeah.
You are a Gemini. Okay, I did not. Okay, I should have realized this. But so Gemini season, everybody, is upon us. May 20th to June 20th. Like the Geminis are coming out to get you. Okay, just so
Yeah.
everybody's aware of this. Dude, I love that. I love that so much. Did I interrupt your question, or were we done with the question?
No, no, not at all. I was just gonna say I confuse people because I outside of music, I do Reiki and photography, and I like all that kind of stuff. I just find it really interesting. And so there are people who know me from like the meditation circles, and then there's people who know me in the metal circles. And then when the two of them collide, they're like, no, you don't do that. Like, yeah, I do.
That's so funny. And then you bust out your bass and then you're like doing spiritual healing at the same time.
Yeah,
I love
literally.
it.
Yeah.
Love it. Let's see. Stephen Colburn says Warshire, Massachusetts. So we do have a Warshire. A Warshire.
Ah, no way. That's
Uh,
cool.
a good old Dawn down in the basement says Hobbit base god of the Shire.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, Donovan. Let's see, Davy baby. What's your practice regimen look like?
Yeah, so I actually did a video on this, but it was towards the start of my channel, so I could probably do a much better one now. It looks like the most, well, least organized thing you've ever seen. I don't really have a set practice regime, so I don't like sit down for X amount of hours a day. I kind of go with the flow of where my brain's at. So sometimes my brain will be really on a binge of it, and I'll sit down every day and I'll be playing for hours, just because that's what I want to be doing. And then other times I won't play for quite a while, but I'll be kind of thinking stuff through in my head. And I figured that when I'm not playing, often what's going on is things are kind of evolving in my head. And when I come back to playing, I'm often either doing totally different stuff, or I'm actually a better player than I was when I first left off. So I think because of the way my brain is, it tends to always be processing things. And I can kind of, if I've learned songs, I'll carry on processing them even when I'm not playing. So for me, it's kind of a very mental process as much as it is physical. Obviously, if there's something physical that I want to learn, like a new technique, I will pick up the bass. But yeah, so it's a weird one. It's a really internal thing for me sometimes. And I'll even like, I'll be playing video games, but in my head, I'll also be playing bass, or like the cogs are always turning, but I sometimes look like I'm not doing anything, or I'm kind of not bothering. So yeah, I kind of just go with it, really.
Okay, very cool. Let's see. Lane says this made my afternoon. You turned a rotten day 180. Thank you. Thank you, Lane, because this actually made my
Oh,
afternoon as well. And thank you, Cici, again for being here.
yeah,
Sometimes it
thank
just
you.
takes a pleasant person with a nice smile and a great attitude to just turn everything around. And that's why I'm a huge supporter of just smiling and being kind to everybody around you, because you never know what people are going through. And sometimes something as simple as a smile and a kind gesture can turn somebody's day around. And I'm here for it. I'm here for
Yeah,
it.
me too. Very, very well said.
All right, let's see. Mike Torin just got back here. Wanted to say that Cici has a sick vibe and is exactly what the music world needs right now. And I look forward
Oh,
to seeing what the future has in store for her.
oh, thank you, Mike. You're a legend. Always like seeing you on my profiles.
He is an absolute legend. I've interviewed Mike once or twice, and I've got to bring him back to the podcast again because he's so much fun and he has such a unique history in the bass playing world, touring with suicidal tendencies and all kind of good things like that. So if you guys have not already seen my episode with Mike Torin, I might have done two. I'm not sure yet. They're available on my podcast site. Go check it out. But not now, not until after we're done with this. Okay. All right. Let's see. Oh, we got all kind of questions. What's your favorite food, Cici?
Ah, yeah. So sweet and sour chicken Cantonese style is probably number one. And then I do love like Indian chicken korma and things like that. Basically, anything with chicken and rice, I'm pretty much here for any of it.
Anything chicken and rice. I love this. All right. Let's see. Dawn, now you're going to the doghouse. Dawn's always in the doghouse, just so everybody knows. I'm just joking. All right, Gilbert, who are your favorite bass players? I know we touched on this, but let's go ahead and touch on it one more time.
Yeah, so Justin Chancellor, definitely. Cliff Burton, Paul Gray, Flea. There's so many. John Entwistle. Probably as well, one of my bass teachers, Russ Sargent, he does all kind of really melodic bass stuff, and that's really lovely. Tommy Gaskin, who was another bass tutor of mine, is just great groovy player. Yeah, a guy called Shez Raja as well, who does kind of jazz fusion stuff. I'm a big fan of his. There's so many. Stu Ham as well, who my bass teacher, Russ Sargent, actually introduced me to Stu Ham when I was about 13, 14. And Stu Ham, speaking of him, he very, very kindly, when I met him for the first time at the London Bass Show, again when I was about 14, I think, I said, "Hi, I love your bass playing. I've learned Count Zero. Are you going to be playing it tonight?" And he goes, "Oh no, but I am now." And he dedicated it to me, and I've still got the video. So thank you very much, Stu. You're a legend.
When I posted the flyer yesterday for the promo for this podcast, he was so stoked that you were going to be on the show. And he said, yeah, that he's known you for such a long time. And I think that's really cool. I actually got to interview Stu last year, another one that I've got to bring back onto the show. But he is just such another just very humble and kind bass player. Maybe it's
definitely.
Just bass. I don't know. Maybe
I think it is. Bass players are really down to earth most of the time.
Yeah, it's because we're the joke of the band. Everybody likes to make fun of us. Let me tell you, okay? We actually do have hearts, okay? We have hearts, all right?
We're the most sensitive ones in the band.
I think that might be true. I think I might need to make a shirt. I think I need to put a shirt like that in my Etsy so everybody's aware that how sensitive. Okay, Dawn in the basement. Oh, that's too funny. You guys, we are live with Cici Pal, Cici von Strangelove on the Sunshine Show, brought to you by Sunshine and the Bass Kids, hosted by Bass Players United. If you guys have any last minute questions, comments, suggestions, drop them there in the comment section. We're going to start wrapping up in about 10 minutes. We've been going about an hour strong. Let's see. I know I had a question here about technique. Let's see. Are there any specific challenges or opportunities that come with being a female bass player in the music industry? I know that sounds kind of cliche. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know.
Yeah, no, definitely. This is actually something that I've been it goes up and down, but I've been having a bit of not a crisis is too strong of a word, but kind of like the thought coming back in that it's really difficult a lot of the time for what I'm doing to come across the way that I'm intending it to. Like, I'll post a video, just me playing, and it doesn't matter what I'm wearing. Like, I've posted videos in my pajamas, and I've had comments where they're like, "Oh, put some effort in to how you look." And then I posted videos where I've been really dressed up in gig clothes, and then I've got, "Oh, stop being a poser."
Yeah.
And then I've posted videos in just casual home clothes, and then I've got like going, "Oh, you look really scruffy." And I'm like, but you're the one making it about my clothes when all I'm trying to do is like play a song. Stop making it about the image.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I love dressing up and I love creating characters. And I think that the visual side of stuff for me is really important because I love to watch it and I love to feel immersed. So it's never to be above the music, but I often think that I like to sometimes put it on a par with the music or as a nice little like go hand in hand with it. And I wish that more people would kind of take that on board because it doesn't seem to matter what you wear, there's always comments like that. And it's really frustrating because sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'm really proud of what I've played here or what I've come up with or like this cover I've done or whatever. And then it's kind of demeaned to that, which is really frustrating. And then people start putting their own kind of spin on you, which I know happens on the internet anyway, but
Yeah.
it's kind of there's pros and cons to being a male and female in the music industry, and I think for men they tend to get overlooked, and I think for women you tend to have to work much harder at what you do in order to be seen as being anywhere near as good as someone who is maybe not even on necessarily on that level, if that makes any sense.
Sure. Well, I just
So
feel like I feel like also like we're not gonna go on there and like go to like say Donovan, who's down in the basement posting videos every 30 minutes. We're so tired of it, Donovan's joking. Nobody's gonna go on Donovan's page and be like, oh, you're not dressed sexy enough, or oh, you're like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like showing too much. Like, who cares? Like, it's not about that. But
yeah,
obviously, like you said, like the visual needs to go with, yeah, it's very complicated and it's an interesting subject for sure to talk about because I
yeah,
don't think people
definitely.
really think about that.
No,
Uh,
yeah, it's a weird one, but I could go on and on about it, but I won't.
we'll move on. We'll move on. We got about 6 minutes, you guys. So if you have any last minute questions, drop them there in the comment section. Let's see. Can you share any memorable experiences or milestones in your career as a bassist?
Yeah, so there's been quite a few, but obviously Ashdown endorsing me, but they were my first endorsement. Um, that was like a huge milestone, and I couldn't believe it. And then again with Warwick endorsing me last year, that was like I don't know, I don't when stuff like that happens, it's like why me? So yeah, that's pretty amazing. I'm really proud of that. Um,
Because you're a
Another
badass.
milestone. Oh, thank you, thank you. um, yeah, another milestone is getting asked to do the Andertons demos and be part of their bass team and stuff. That's really cool. Um, I've done a couple of really cool gigs. One in front of about 3,000 people in the UK, and then one in the Netherlands in front of 6,000 people. That was on guitar. But again, they're really cool experiences. So yeah, I've been really, really lucky, and just lots of people I've met at the London bass show as well. That was just such a cool thing. I wish they'd bring it back.
So Kilo says, I did see Cici at NAM. So is there a NAM do you guys have your own version of NAM?
No, so I think on Ashdown's stand they had a little TV screen, and because I went to their studio not too long before, they'd put me on the screen at NAM, which is really cool.
Oh, girl, yes. Whoever wants, we're starting the GoFundMe now to get Cici to the United States to NAM. Okay, so whoever wants to help with that, let's get it going. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's meant to be. So cool. Kilo says no at the Ashdown booth.
Yeah. So
Is
it was
that what
on
you said?
there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
love
next.
Kilo, such a legend.
So cool. Kilo, you're next. Okay, I'm coming for you next. Davy Brown, I notice you like synths, soundscapes, and pedals. Have you ever tried software like MIDI Guitar 2 or MIDI Bass 1 by Jam Origin, where it turns your bass into MIDI controller by just using your normal 1/4-inch bass cable?
No, I haven't actually, but now I'm definitely going to be doing that when money allows. So thank you for the inspiration.
Hell yeah. All right, all right, all right, guys. Thank you all for hanging out with us. We're going to start wrapping this up. I have about 2 more questions and we're going to get out of here because Cece's got to go to bed. All right. It's already midnight over there. Let's see. How do you approach crafting bass lines for the different genres of music?
So it depends on the song, and what the band is as well. But for my own stuff, I'll kind of the way I'll craft the song is I'll come up with the bass line first, which I know is a bit of a backwards way of doing it, but it's just how it works for me. Um, and then that's just kind of I'll play around and see what works and what I like and see what comes out with other people's songs. So, for example, in Red Giant, I'll either write them on the spot in the rehearsal studio, or I say that like it's some big studio, it's a little rehearsal room. I'll either write them on the spot, or in the case of if someone's sent me a song to play on, I'll have a listen through the song, and quite often, especially if it's not got a guide bass line, I prefer that. I'll listen and then I'll start hearing things, and then I'll kind of make a note of what I've heard, and I'll go through it and test out various things and see what works and kind of what fits the vibe of the song. And then I'll give them the option of, well, I think this sounds cool, but you might not want that feeling for the song. So let me know. And then if they like it, great. If not, I'm happy to kind of go for a different feeling. So yeah, it depends on the situation really, but generally just listening to what the song needs, trying not to overplay, but also knowing when to kind of let the bass shine and when it needs to guide things and add its own little melody on top, because sometimes that's a really important thing just as much as just keeping the groove down. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So before we get out of here, I do want to touch a little bit on this amazing seventh sense that you have, where when you listen to music, you actually see different colors. When did you notice that when did you realize this was a superpower?
Yeah, so not until I was a musician actually. I don't remember exactly when I realized it wasn't normal, but because for me it's like you don't wake up in the morning and see the world and think, "Whoa, that's really weird. I can see the world." So for me, it was kind of like it was just an extra thing that I thought everyone had. Like when you listen to music, you see textures and colors and things like that, and movement. I didn't really question it until I started speaking about it with other musicians, where I was like, "Yeah, because I want the bass tone to look like this." So yeah, it was kind of when I started mentioning it to other people, and it's a weird thing, but I find it really helpful when I'm actually learning songs and things like that. Because and even when I'm writing as well, knowing what kind of tone to put on the song and what sounds, even with the soundscapes and stuff, because I know visually how they look appealing and what looks right. Um, but yeah, when I'm learning a song, because I can see the textures of it, I can kind of see where it's moving, and I can follow that on the bass. So I feel like it highlights what I'm trying to learn a lot more easily than just kind of just hearing it, because I do most of my learning by ear. So being able to see it and hear it is really helpful. And yeah, it kind of it's a mental thing, because I can see, if I focus on just the drums, I can see each drum individually. They all look different. Same with the guitar and people's voices. They have a specific look. And then I can focus on the song as a whole and see all the different textures and colors, and like it kind of creates its own image as well. But then there's the other stuff going on in the background with the individual instruments. So yeah,
Wow.
it's
It's
really weird to explain, but
it's like you're on a permanent DMT trip.
yeah, I can
Wow.
imagine. Yeah.
Let's see. Steven says brown to blue is interesting. Do you know what he's talking about here? I feel like, do you have the same seventh sense, Steven?
No, I actually don't know exactly what he means by that, but It'll probably make
Steve,
sense in a sec.
is each note a different color?
So not for me. It's a weird thing that the color depends on more on the sound. So not the notes, but the texture of what's going on instead. So like, uh, I don't know, in a song, like one song that's in the key of D might be a totally different color and texture to another song that's in the same key, just because of the way it's mixed and the way that the guitar tones might be, etc., and if there's any synths. And it also weirdly depends on the era of song as well, because I find old songs, like ones from the 60s or even going back, songs from the 40s or 20s, they all have a weird kind of filter on them because they're recorded much less clearly. And then modern songs, in particular electronic songs, have a much sharper, clearer look to me. And especially on electronic music, it's very like neon colors. So yeah, it's all very modern looking.
It's very like 80s.
Yeah.
So when you say texture, are we talking like a velvet and a corduroy and like a fucking like it's just it's mind blowing to me talking to you about it, because like I could never imagine. I feel like for me that would be it would be so much for me to process. I'd be like, ooh.
Yeah. So yeah, by textures it's like, so electronic music tends to look a lot like neon lights most of the time. So that kind of soft but bright glow and really strong colors. And then other songs like guitar tones, they might look really spiky to me, or they might look really rough, or it's a really weird thing to explain because the things that I see don't necessarily exist in this world, so there's not really words to describe them, which is kind of
Oh.
frustrating. But yeah, so it's a weird one to explain, but
Wow, I feel like you need to write a book on it, Cici. Enlighten the rest of us, okay? Enlighten the rest of us. It's so I feel like I could talk about this for like a whole hour,
yeah,
just this in
I
itself.
actually I did do a video actually where I went through some Tool songs like bit by bit and explained what I was seeing to the best of my abilities. If that does interest anyone, um, then that is out there on my channel as well. But yeah, I've done another video called I can see sounds, or I can see music, where I
Wow.
kind of go into it a bit as well. But yeah,
Dude,
it's mental.
I feel like you could have like a whole YouTube channel, like a whole just like reels, like doing songs, like different type of songs, different type of genres, different time of
Yeah.
like, dude, we listen, me and you, CC, we about to make a lot of money off this.
Let's do it.
I'm down. Let's see. We got Goids Quazo. Whoa, I thought this page was just a page of base memes. It actually has a real person. Shout out from the Philippines. What's up? I know that Bass Players United is about to have a really cool show that they're about to start doing. So you guys stick around for that, because but I think it's going to be a weekly like bass hangout thing. So I'm not sure the whole details behind that, but I know that's something that they are working on as well. So hopefully we'll start doing a lot more live shows here on Bass Players United. All right, Christopher Wolf, Steve Birdson, Stephen Colburn, Lee Patterson, Davy Brown, Don down in the basement, Arthur Gonzalez, Bass, Gabe, Gilbert Barentes, Kilo, the whole family. Thank you guys all so much for hanging out with me and Cici this amazing, beautiful day after Cici's 25th birthday. She's a
Yeah,
Gemini.
thank you for being here.
Gemini season is upon
Don't
us,
forget it.
everybody. All right, cool. We're going to start wrapping this up. Do you have any advice you'd like to give everybody at home, whether it's advice about bass playing or just life advice?
Yeah, so general life advice that I feel like also translates to music, but just go with things. I think anything that's meant to happen will happen, and it seems like the more you try and force something, the more it's going to push against you. Or if you do get what you were forcing for, it's generally not as good as you hoped it would be. So just, it's really difficult to do, but just try and go with it and trust that whatever happens is kind of on the right path. And yeah,
I love that.
that's my 25-year-old life advice.
That is great. All right. So I know all of you at home. I'm going to try to bring my mic with me. I'm going to show you my pig who's living in the closet. Do you see him? Can you see him? Oh, yeah, there he is. There's his little nose. All right, guys. On that note, we're going to get out of here. Cici, thank you so much for your time tonight. It's been such an amazing experience. Imagine this is Winston talking to you. It's not. It's me, Sunshine, your host. Remind us, how can we find you all and where can we find you at?
Yeah, so on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere, Bandcamp, soon to be Spotify, it's all Cici Von Strangelove.
Perfect. All right. All right. All right. All right. You ready to get out of here, Cici?
I am. Thanks so much for having me. And also, I want to say I've seen so many people I know in the chat. So, to every single one of you, thank you very much. And to everyone new, thank you so much for tuning in. And also, thank you for the kind words, because I have been kind of trying to read as I've been listening, and there's been some really nice stuff said. So, just know that I have read it and it really means the world to me. So, thank you.
Thank you, Cici. All right, girl. I'm sure we'll have you back on the show soon. We've got to definitely have you back on once you release the album. I'm so stoked. I cannot
Definitely.
wait for all your success. Excuse me.
Thank
All
you.
right, on 3, we're going to say bye. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3.
Bye.